just trying to come to this side so I can talk and see you guys at the same time. And Vedic means, now, this is, by 50,000, it's a rough estimate. Some keep it over 100,000 years, some are closer to the 50,000, some a little bit earlier, depending on the archaeological evidence that you believe in. But they're far more older than 1,000 or 2,000 years old that the British were trying to do. Because the whole idea with the British was that Aryans were a transient race, and they were simply there just like the British were, and it gave them the rights to overtake India and the surrounding regions. So Veda means knowledge. Next one. And Vedas are books of knowledge covering topics of spirituality, science, mathematics, astronomy, and botany. Very different from other religious books where it only covered spirituality or stories about their prophets. It actually covered the science at that time. And they were true books of knowledge, not just a spiritual or religious basis. Now, they were revealed by 4 sages. And the amazing part of this is, if you look at the size of these, the Vedas, how they were orally passed from one generation to the next flawlessly. And they had techniques of memorizing it because there were no books at that time. So they had to memorize it in different sequences and make sure each sequence was correct. That alone could take a whole lecture series on amazingly how they did that. Next. So the first, and Sundeep can highlight these, that all 4 Vedas, according to the Vedic tradition, were revealed at the same time. But the scientific or the archaeological folks considered them to at different stages. So the first one being Rig Veda. It's one of the largest of the Vedas. It was revealed to Agni Rishi, and it covers spiritual science, mathematics, astronomy. The second one is Yajurveda, which was revealed to Vayu Rishi, and it's Karmakanda or action. And Samveda takes a musical form, the mantras take on a musical form in Samveda. And Atharva Veda, which was revealed by Agni Rishi, covers science. Its mantras are derived from Rig Veda. Just go back for a second. Anything you would like to add, Sundeep, on this one? Later on? Okay, perfect. And if you have any questions along the way while we're doing the slides, great. If you have questions for Sundeep, we can move on quicker. So the next one. Now, Upanishads literally means at the feet of the masters. And so it's the disciple going to the masters and learning from them. Now, the master didn't just walk up to them and ask them a question and reveal it. The masters would sometimes ask you to stay with them for over a year, so that your mind is open, your mind is developed before they start revealing deep thoughts to you. And so it's not, it's not like young kids going around from place to place learning stuff, but they actually spend time with the rishis to really deeply understand some of this. So these are the conversations between the rishis, the masters, rishis, and their disciples. Discussions are on soul, God, nature. There are approximately 108 major or main Upanishads, and Swami Dayananda suggested 11 of them as being significant. Next one. And I'll give you the primary or the Mukhya Upanishads, and Sundeep can talk a little bit more, just a few minutes on these. So Isha, which is revealed in the Yajurveda, it talks about the indivisibility of God. God is whole, full entities, kind of like the atom. That's the concept, that it cannot be subdivided into other things. Kenya is part of Samveda, and it's about pure conceptual knowledge. And Katha is part of Yajurveda, and this is really a conversation between Yama, Lord of Death, and a young child, Nachiketa. And so it's really describing or explaining about what happens after death, the after death experience. Parshna is literally means inquiry about Brahma. And Sundeep, I didn't get a chance to do the other few. If you want to say anything about them.
Prashna, like all questions. And
Mike, correct. Okay, yes.
So, Prashnoprashad have questions, and Mundak is from Atharvaved, and as we know, Upanishads, they talk about God, soul, and how can we get connectivity. Mandukya Upanishad is the smallest Upanishad. It has only, I think, 12 mantras, and it's explained about Om. What is the Om? The original meaning of Om, because it's explained how we have 4 states, like Jagrat, Swapna, Susupti, and Turiya Avastha, and how Om is connected to our Jagrat, Swapna, Susupti, and also Turiya. Turiya means number 4, which is not explained. And Chandogya Upanishad is a part of each Upanishad belong to a certain Ved. So Chandogya Upanishad, very big Upanishad, and Shvetashvata Upanishad has a story of Shvet Ketu. So Upmanyu and his father, Upmanyu's son was Shvetketu. He went in school, and after education when he came, how arrogant or egoful he was, and his father did not see when he came after 12 or 14 years education. He didn't, his father didn't go to welcome him. So when he asked, why didn't welcome, I came after so long, you didn't come to see me. He told, I want to know, what did you study? He told, I study everything. He told, what do you mean? Oh, math, science, all subjects he explained. He told, do you have any idea, knowledge about, not everything, but by learning something which everything can be known to you. हिंदी में मैं बताऊंगा कि जिसको जानने से सब कुछ जाना जा सकता है. Like master key. After learning something, if you don't need to learn anymore anything because that master key has concealed all knowledge. So did you study that? So Shvetashvata told, well, Shvetketu told, no, my teacher did not teach. He didn't teach that. He told, go back for 12 years. So he went and he asked to his teacher. So if I explain each Upanishad, it will be take too long.
No, just a
so
brief summary.
these stories, when we will have time, we can go one by one. But today we are going briefly.
Yeah.
So and then he came after 12 years again. First he went to teacher. He told, you didn't teach me that, my father sent me back. He told, you did not let me teach, but I want to teach. You told me, teach me history, teach me grammar, teach me this and that. So you did not give me chance, but I would love to teach you. So Shvetketu, you didn't get me chance to teach you, but supposed to teach. You always have list. Teach me grammar, teach me linguistic studies, teach me about universe, teach me this. I want to teach you something which is master key. After learning that, you don't need so many other things or everything else. So that is the Upanishad of Shvetashvata Upanishad.
So just to give you a structure of Rig Veda, because it is the biggest of the Vedas. It has 10 mandals or chapters, and each chapter or sukta are inner chapters. And each sukta has a subject called Devta. And we'll get into Devta because we do all of our ahutis for Devtas, or the subject. And mantras of the sukta describe that subject. Next. The five main subjects or devatas of Rig Veda are Agni, fire; Vayu, air; Indra, water, rain, lightning; Saraswati, knowledge, music, art; and Ashwini Kumar, Ayurveda. Just you want to highlight anything on that part?
I think if we go briefly, and then I will go after.
Afterwards,
Yeah,
okay.
because then it will be.
No problem.
Yeah.
So we'll go through that. Now the science in the Rig Vedas is incredible. Just to give you example, Copernicus, Galileo were in 1600 that they were fighting to claim that the Earth revolved around the sun, and they were chastised and quite literally attacked by the church, and they had to backtrack. What they did was that the Earth revolved around the sun, not the sun revolving around the Earth. And this is 50,000 plus years, depending on who you wanted to ask, whether it's 10,000, 40,000, 100,000. The fact is, it's incredible. With the naked eye, they were able to tell that the Earth not only spun around, revolving yearly to create the seasons, but it also moved around the Earth in an elliptical orbit. And not only that, they also understood how the moon cycles work and how the moon revolved around the Earth. So it wasn't a mystery to them what was happening in the celestials. Gravitational pull of the planets. They had a concept of the gravity pull causing the planets to be where they were. Right? With naked eye, no instrumentations. This is the incredible part. I went through university, high school here, and the only time that science started was with the Greeks. It never went beyond the Greeks. And the Greeks were still scratching their heads at the time when, 50,000 years ago, when all of this was solidly known to the Indians. And that's the incredible story of Rig Vedas. And unfortunately, we've never been taught this. My parents never taught it. Our mothers have done a shameful job of not teaching anything. The temples, of course, and Arya Samaj hasn't done anything either. And this is the key things that our kids are missing, because we are always thinking that we're inferior, yet we have this advanced knowledge so far ahead. And that's the incredible part. The water cycle, how the water, I saw it in my daughter's book. They were teaching them how the water evaporates by the sun and stuff. And this is 50,000 years ago. And physical anatomy as well, where all your organs are, how they're connected. The whole human physiology as well, all covered in the first book, Rig Veda.
So I have a question about this. So this is astronomy, right? So then when did astrology come in picture, or how was it derived, or is it mentioned in Vedas or astrology? And like all pundits and all, they always look at your horoscope and and then scare you that you have some Saturn planet in first house. It's going to create a lot of problems. So ये सब चीजें कब आएंगी? Or
no, it's good.
Is there any, are they mentioned in Vedas or?
No, in Ved, Swami Dayanand very clearly explained that there are two types of astrology. One is Jyotish, which is to understand Vedas, we have 6 type of knowledge. We need 6 type of knowledge to understand Vedas. And those 6 type of knowledge we call Vedanga. So one is Shiksha, Kalp, Vyakaran, Nirukt, Chand, and Jyotish. So these are 6 we call Vedanga. Ved means knowledge, Ang means limbs. Limbs of Vedas are 6. How many limbs of Vedas are? 6. And the last limb is Jyotish. Jyotish has, because the related question is about the Jyotish. What is the Jyotish? So they call Jyotish is the eye of Vedas. Like how you cannot see without your eyes. Can you see without your eyes? Same way, they say Jyotish is similar to the eyes of Vedas. That is the Vedic topic. Now, how we have downfall. Anything can get contaminated. Doesn't matter how nice rice pudding you had made, but when time go more and more, doesn't matter how expensive fridge you have, you know, impurities developed, bacteria and things. Same thing, it's nature, you know. Things can transform into good or bad. So from Jyotish, we got Falit Jyotish. The question we have, it is related Falit Jyotish. Falit Jyotish and Ganit Jyotish. There are two types of, you can say. Ganit means the calculation. The astrological calculation is a science and is the actually foundation of this all kind of science. We know the mathematics is the base of all type of science. If you are a science student and don't know math, it means you don't know what you're doing or choosing. So the math part of astrology is accepted, proved, and it is Vedic. So then we have Falit Jyotish. After mathematics, people, they start believing that, okay, if I have this calculation, I will get this. I will get this, you know. So then they impose their emotional issues on numbers. Now I'm just giving an example. One culture believe that 13 number is the most auspicious number. Have you heard? No?
Who believed in that? Which culture?
Sikh Dharm believe, yeah, that 13 number is the most auspicious number.
They are 13 gurus, no?
Not 13, there are 10 gurus. Okay? You know why? Because the first guru, Guru Nanak Dev, he was saying Tera, Tera. He was sent to the, you know, by one business person to, and his duty was to measure a scale and then, you know, give to people. So when he was doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So in Punjabi, 13, the accent is like Tera. And then he got stuck to, he didn't move. So he called Tera, Tera, Tera. He didn't move, he didn't proceed after 13. And because of this, and he got like kind of like, you can say their way, like he got a state of samadhi. You know, he went beyond natural way. Natural means he have experience, spiritual experience. So like all Sikh Dharma followers, they believe 13 number is the most auspicious number. Because of that number, he has a spiritual experience. Now, there is another culture who believe 13 number is, you know, unlucky, most unauspicious number. Now, is that correct? Do I have to explain who believe that? You go, there is no 13th floor. People, you were saying?
Jews.
Jewish?
Jewish.
And also
Americans.
Yeah, North American, all right. So now I'm saying, just think the number 13, do you think has to do something? It's just, I will say, imagination. If you imagine that this person, front person coming, and he's going to hurt me, and you start thinking about fear, you start thinking to protect and defense, your body language will be different. And that person who is most compassionate person, merciful, will have fight with you. Not only person, but also animals. They say if you go and if you're thinking this dog is going to bite me, this dog is going to bite me, yeah, you'll get injured. Because your thought process, your body language, your behavior will be that other person can sense telepathically or so many different ways. So, Falit Jyotish, people who imagine certain way, they get same type of result. I'm giving, I think last time I gave example. People have phobia, people have hypnotism, people have mesmerism, people have depression. All these are game of imagination. That's what I was saying. Falit Jyotish is a bad game of imagination. And it's up to you. You can believe. I was in Hindu Sabha Mandir as a priest, and it was just right after 9/11. Maybe 1 month later or few days later, one person called, I have ghost in my house. Okay. And I thought, okay. So I told, okay, someone I gave to other priests, and that person told, no, I don't speak your language, I speak English. So they gave back to me. Can you explain to me I have ghost and this and that? So I thought, okay, I should tell, that was lady. I told, she will come, I will tell, come to the temple and talk to head priest. And in like less than 5 minutes, she was in the temple. We were thinking like it will take half hour, something. And we called to the head priest, Abhadev Shastri, that someone call and they ask him this. Because when you're in the temple, you cannot answer rude or anything, So she came, oh, where is Sundeep? There was like 6 feet tall, really healthy black lady, African lady, and she told, I have to talk Sundeep. I was talking to him. I was the most broken English speaker that time. Other people, they don't speak, other priests didn't speak English at all. So she came and she told like, no, someone told me that I have to go to Indian priest or Indian temple, and I have ghosts every night when I come in this corner, this picture shake, and my stereo got on, my bulb got turned on, and all these things she explained. So I told, okay. So I told, do you pray? She told, yes. I told, okay. I want to ask some questions. If these questions are like connected to you, then maybe I can help you. So I told, okay. She told, okay. I told, do you live alone by yourself? She told, yes, I'm living from like 5-6 years by myself. I told, do you have recently any sad event in your family, like someone died? She told, yes, my mother passed away. I told, okay. I told, you must work in the night time. She told, yes, I work in the night time. All the questions I asked her, she told, how do you know? Now she's saying, how do you know I have these things? I told, I don't know anything, but I'm just asking you if something, then I can help you. So when I was going, and she was explaining, our priest, Indian priest, they gave me, give her Hanuman Chalisa. I told, but she will read Hanuman Chalisa. Oh no, it has English translation. I told, English translation, she will be like more scared, The meaning of Hanuman Chalisa, if you read, really like as an intelligent person, if you read the meaning of Hanuman Chalisa, you will not thinking this is something spiritual. It's like all fight and all, violence and thing. Rakshas maar diye, bhoot pare diye, jo bhi kuch. So I told, okay, no. I went, we did Havan, and I told her, okay, just chant something. And I gave her some mantra. And that mantra was not in from Vedas or anywhere. She told, from which book? I told, you can find out. She gave me, she told, I have this month, I have this month, I have this month, and this has this meaning, this has this meaning. So she shows me only at least 5 to 10, mantras, which is given from other Hindu priests. So I gave her some phrase, some verse, and I know she cannot find from anywhere because it was not from any book. I just make up and gave it to her. After 3-4 months, she came and she told, where is Sundeep? I thought, well, she's coming to do something. So I told her, you did excellent job. See, now I don't have to work in night time. Everything falling so positively in my life. And I'm so happy. And that day I didn't have money to give you, and she gave dakshina after 3-4 months. So, and even I was scared. I thought this 6 feet tall lady, I just came, really, and the people are, and I never have visited by myself with any from that culture people. So she tried. She told, but I don't know from which is the holy book you give that mantra. I told, I cannot tell you. So, I go on Google, I try, I ask so many priests, no one can give the meaning of this mantra. So many times it happens, it depends what you thinking and what you imposing on your things. So I always say, not only Vedas, in yoga, we have 2 types of progress. One type of samadhi is with mind, we call it samprajnat samadhi. Super conscious state with mind. You develop mind. Let's say you are concentrating, you are focusing on painting. You can just, someone can describe, and you with closed eyes, you can, just draw the person. You can become, that is your samadhi, that's your focus, that's your concentration. That is your development of your, extremely development of your mind. Same thing in music, same in any art. All kind of arts are extreme progress of your imagination or of your mind. But if we stuck in the arts or imagination, then we don't fulfill our main fundamental basic purpose of the life, which is a samprajnat samadhi. We have to go beyond our mind, because mind is just a vehicle of soul or of your consciousness. So we have to reach our super conscious state beyond mind. It does not mean, I mentioned in first time, when we say we have to reach super conscious state beyond mind, which is a samprajnat samadhi, it does not mean we have to destroy our mind or we have to work against mind. It means leave the mind as you left your car and enjoy insight of the consciousness. So Phalit Jyotish, it depends how someone impose their imagination or their thoughts, or how someone enter in and reprogram your thought process. We love our thoughts. You don't love your husband, you don't love your son, you don't love your daughter, you don't love your family, but you love your own thoughts. If someone can come and reprogramming your software or change your thought process, same daughter, how many cases have you heard mother and daughter has real violence, they destroy each other? How many son and father they fight? How many sisters and sisters they destroy each other? These are all relations we are nourishing from childhood in our growth. this is your sister, you respect your sister, your relative, and this and that. That's why we respect. Because we getting imposed from our family, from our society. But if someone does not give us these kind of sanskaras, you will not know who is your sister, who is your wife, who is your mother, who is your grandmother. You will not know anything. These are imagination. And it has benefits. If you recognize your sister as a sister, it is good. If you recognize your wife as a wife, it is beneficial. But if you start playing, that also have negative, everything has negative and positive side. So if you recognize sister as a sister and doing favor too much, all money you're going to give to sister and ignoring your wife, that's not good. Or vice versa. So is that good to have someone relative as a brothers and sisters and fathers and mothers and all these things? It has both type of result. It could be good, it could be bad, because imagination goes both way. In Patanjali, Yoga Sutra, Patanjali say, Vrittayah Panchatayah Klishta Aklishta. Vrittis, which makes us like whirlpool or vortex, they are good and they are bad. Knife, you can chop the vegetable and you can chop your finger. So these imagination is the power of mind, and people on Phalit Jyotish, on numbers, on things, they impose, they reprogram, oh, you have Shani. Shani has this effect. Before you don't know what Shani has effect and you are living fine. But now you know. So, yeah, like there are so many, I don't want to take too much time because this is very common question, but it is very important because so many people answering, still people have to follow the bad things. Still people have to believe blindly. Doesn't matter how many Swami Dayananda comes, doesn't matter how many Guru Nanak Dev come, and they're trying to tell community, this is not right, but people will keep going there. So, Phalit Jyotish, this Kundali, that Kundali, this and that, like it's not Vedic. It's game of imagination. It has benefit and it has harmful side too. So it's up to you what kind of thoughts you got imposed in your thought process. But what yoga and Veda is teaching, clean all imposed things. You have to find your own self. You are not brother, sister, mother. You are pure consciousness. And if you are not pure consciousness, doesn't matter if just brothers and sisters, still you will do nonsense. When people get drunk, they forget who is brother, who is sister, who is mother, and they misbehave. The most cases in this country, in North America, people get child abused, people get beaten up, people get domestic problems. And I have one student in Orangeville who worked for that kind of community who got, assaulted or abused. She told 100% cases they are related drugs and alcohol. Doesn't matter women's, child, or any kind of, all people who getting abused, somehow, somewhere, alcoholism or intoxicated situations are involved. So, in first lecture I was saying, Buddhim lumpati yadravyam madkari taduchyate. Any chemical, when steal your intellect or intellectual power, that is the worst thing you can do to yourself. And I mentioned person, place, and thing and thoughts can steal your mind. Sometimes certain person steal your mind. You know you're going wrong direction, but you will keep following. Your parents will say, this boy is not good. but you'll keep following, and you'll leave your family, you'll fight. Your parents took care of yourself like 20 years, 17, or whatever. You're not listening to them, you're just following one person, but that person taking away your intellectual power. Place. Some people, they're so intelligent, but when they go to mosque, temple, and religious places, they behave like they don't know what they're doing. Putting head on the stones, on the books, and on certain symbols, and believing those symbols are God. So that is attachment. Person, place, things, but in the foundation of all person, place, and thing is thoughts. If someone can change your thought process, you will change. So Falit Jyotish is not part of Vedic tradition. Okay? Astrology or astronomy, that is part of the mathematics part, calculation.
So I'll just briefly say, my cousin believes in all of these things, so I tell him one thing. I agree with you that a planet a million miles away has some effect in it. Possibly, there's gravitational forces, so I accept it. But can you tell me your willpower, your intelligence is so weak that it can't overcome the pull, the slight tug of a planet a million miles away from you? End of story. Right? Every moment that God has made is auspicious. One moment is no more auspicious than the other moment. But the problem is that if you look at the literature in recent literature as well in Western science, they're showing how people are looking at patterns that don't exist. Because our mind looks at patterns, right? We look at patterns, we see things, structure, we see the patterns of the stock markets going up and down. So we constantly are looking for patterns where they may not even exist. And that's our fault of the mind. There's a book written called The Idiot Brain by, I forget the gentleman. But he talks about the fact that our minds are constantly looking for patterns because that's how it kind of gives them safety, comfort. That I can recognize a random event, but I can see the pattern. If it's completely random, my brain goes crazy. I don't know what's going on. But if I can recognize that pattern as, oh yeah, that's a pattern, it makes me more comfortable. The stars are doing something to me. Oh, that's why I am here where I am. Okay, let's move on to the next topic because I think we spent a lot of time already on it. So we're just going through, for you guys, through the different Vedas. We've covered the Rig Veda first. Yajur Veda has 40 chapters in total. Yaj ke prakar. How many types of yaj or prayers? Yaj is not just havan with ghee coming in and out. Yaj is prayers, a lot more prayers than what we at our Arya Samaj take for it. And who are the participants that perform the yaj? Brahma, and that's why we have the four corners, or the four people who sit around the havan. So Brahma, Udagata, Adharyu, and Hota. Brahma supervises all three, so that's the main lead. Udagata, responsible for chanting the mantras. Adharyu, Adharyu supervises all items of prayers that clean, suitable for prayer. Everything is nice and set. And Hota, or the main person, or the Yajman. And that's why we have the pattern of the havan that we do. Something I didn't know anything about. So that was a good thing to learn. Now, Yajurveda is the beginning of the Upanishads. The last chapter of Yajurveda is the first.
So, is there a certain place they should sit when they do the havan?
Yes. Yeah. So Brahmana should be always in south. And Yajman Hota should be facing east. And also sunset, sunrise, the side of the Hota in some traditions change. So in the morning time, facing east, in the evening time facing west, because sun is in the west side. And
face the west, facing the sun then.
Yajman is supposed to face the sun. Yeah.
Now, in here, it also describes the description of God, which is God is formless, all-pervasive, all-seeing. And it very clearly mentions that God does not have a form or a statue. Very clear about that in the Vedas. So no distinction that maybe there's God, maybe there's statue worship or something. It's clear. There is no form of God. And it also talks about vegetarianism, no killing of animals, no eating meat. There are a number of animals that are mentioned, but we can just go forward on that one. And it also talks about the environment. Okay. So those are important parts of Yajurveda. God is formless, there's no statue. Not killing animals, not eating meat. And it also describes the Trinity. Brahma, creator, Shiv, peace, and Vishnu, sustainer. I'll ask Sundeep to elaborate why Lord Shiva becomes destroyer, whereas in the Veda mantras we talk about peace or God of transformation. Now, these are not separate entities. Brahma is not a separate person. Shiv is not a separate person. These are qualities or attributes of God that they're describing. And that's very important to understand. They are attributes of God. God is one. God is a whole. It cannot be subdivided. And these are attributes. Now, later on in the Puranics, as we read, they subdivided it to make it easier for people to understand. And also for the example of Lakshmi, goddess Lakshmi that we worship today in the temples, it's really the attribute of God of wealth, not goddess of wealth. Samveda, again, it takes on the form of music, so everything related to music or sound and vibration is covered in Samveda. And I didn't realize that Saregama, which we do every day in our music classes and stuff, has come from Samveda. And that's quite interesting, that the sound, the tonality was revealed in this Veda. And it's also the musical way of chanting mantras, so it gives you the tempo, the meter for chanting the mantra, so the exact tone of the mantra. Because mantra is just, you can't just sit there and recite mantras for the heck of it. It has to be done in a certain way, in a certain form to get that vibration. The whole aspect of mantras is to bring the vibration within you, within your mind, and change your brainwaves, the brainwave patterns that we have. Acharya, again, the mantras were derived from Rigveda. Subjects covered the economy, wealth, prosperity, and how to direct your focus or energy in a certain way. How to focus your energies. And it also describes the 8 yogic chakras that we talk about in yoga all the time. Give me just 1 second. You want any elaboration on that? We're going to just quickly move through this, but before we take a break. We want to elaborate afterwards, it's fine.
I think we can just go.
Okay, yeah. So, Puranic literature, that's where we started to see differences from the Vedas meaning. And the main reason for Puranic, in Veda, God was always one, single, whole entity. Indivisible, like an atom, it's indivisible at all. But in Puranic literature, they transform the attributes of God into separate beings or separate entities. So it allowed the common man who did not understand abstract thought to have a visual that Brahma is this person, Shiv is this person, Lakshmi is this goddess. And they came up with, the flowers and all the other things to make it visually appealing for you to keep that in mind. And so when you talk about Lakshmi, someone came up with a lotus flower, sitting on the lotus flower, and Sundeep can give an example where in the Veda they talk about the lotus flower, but they've misinterpreted into as if she's sitting on the lotus flower. And so that's where we've transformed the qualities of God into separate entities to allow common man to understand these things. And then these stories become more and more distorted as you go along the path. Next one. Now this is something that we wanted to know was, or Vinita wanted to know was, Shivji, Lord Shiv, that is mentioned in the Vedas, how is he different from Lord Shiva? Or how did Lord Shiva come about? And really, as Sundeep mentioned this, it's in our tradition to name our children with certain names of gods because it gives them that quality, or we want that quality to come out in that person. And so Shiv was a boy that was named Shiv, and as things happened, he became Lord Shiva, and then everything is attributed to him in terms of these qualities. But Lord Shiva, as we know him today in the worship in the temples, is very different from Shivji, as mentioned in the Vedas. And Sundeepji will just highlight a little bit of that. And Parvati is described in other scriptures as power, and it took the form of his wife. And so in Puranic literature, they often will combine these things into a single entity to describe certain events or certain aspects of Veda so that it would make it easier for you to understand. So Shiv is consciousness, Parvati is nature, and the union of the two transforms the energy into creation. And so in the Puranic literature, they transform the union into this symbol of lingam and yoni, which you see in the temples. It's not just Shiv Ling that you're worshiping. If you look around, it's also the woman's organs in there. So it's the union of the two that they're celebrating. Next one. And that's the picture of a typical Shiv Ling. So now, let's take a break. It's about 45 minutes or 50 minutes into the lecture. Let's take a few minutes break, and we'll go into some of the questions on the topics of Shiv in the Vedas, and also the significance of the Havan and why we do certain Havan, the mantras that we do, and what is their significance there. Is that good, or you guys want to finish? Yeah? Okay. And is that being okay for you guys in terms of this pace? And it's covered enough topic that it's not being boring or too much? Okay. So let's take let's just shut this off.